Hey, what's up? I'm X, and welcome back to the 4 Idiots series, the series where I try to teach you how to do content as fast as possible and as simply as possible. Please like and subscribe and comment so that when people search for Hallowed Sepulchre guides, that this is the first one that they get. With that being said, let's get right into it. A little disclaimer before we start though, I am going to say Sepulchre. The actual correct pronunciation is Sepulchre, but I just am too far gone. Please leave me alone. To do the Hallowed Sepulchre, you do need to complete the Sins of the Father quest and at least have 52 agility to use the first floor, although I'd only really recommend starting if you have about 72 agility or above, otherwise you won't really get much value out of it. If you also want to loot the chests in various tombs throughout the Sepulchre, you'll need 66 thieving, 56 construction, 54 prayer, 7 magic, and 62 range, but having higher in all of these stats will make it easier, but those are the minimums. To get to the Sepulchre, just head to the northeastern part of Darkmire, and you'll be attacked by Vyres if you're not wearing a Vyre Watch outfit, so either pray melee or wear your Vyre Watch outfit. Head into the mausoleum, and if it's your first time heading in, then go to the mysterious stranger and talk to him. If you talk to him and ask him about more information about the Sepulchre, he will end up giving you some teleporting crystals, which will get you right back to the lobby from anywhere. You can also buy more from him later. The stranger will also be your source of upgraded equipment for later on when you get hollowed marks. This equipment will help you fail less in the Sepulchre when looting tombs, as well as use less supplies, and don't forget that you can actually exchange your items on him so that you don't have to keep them in your bank and use them only here. I think the best item you can get for your first item is the Hallowed Ring, which will speed up the animation when you take damage, as well as get rid of the damage that you take for failing. This is the gear that I like to bring to the Sepulchre. You want to wear your graceful or other lightweight equipment, some kind of crossbow. I use the Dorgeshan crossbow because it's the most lightweight crossbow. You'll also want to bring a mithril grapple, a couple oak planks, and mithril nails. There are different planks to nail correlations, but I find oak and mithril to be the easiest to grab. You'll want a lockpick to get into chests faster, a hammer and saw to cross the construction bridge checkpoints, some vampire ashes for one of the looting opportunities, although a lot of people recommend that you don't even do those because it's not sustainable for Iron Men, and a rune pouch with the enchanting runes for the highest enchanting spell you have available, and also some sort of Saradomin armor to regenerate your run on each floor. Please keep in mind that wearing a different god's armor will make it so you actually take damage and lose all your run energy. All of the equipment that you get from the mysterious stranger do count as Saradomin items. I also really want to mention that the Sepulchre will almost always start at the same timing because all of the obstacles will start at the moment you enter the floor. This will change, however, if other players are running the course. Once you have some hollowed marks, you can actually talk to the stranger and ask that you always go into a private instance instead, and you'll always have the same timing. I've been thinking a lot about how I wanted to make this guide, as there's a lot of different combinations for how this can go. There are 5 floors, and on the first 2 floors you have 4 potential paths that you can be spawned on. The 3rd and 4th floor have 2 potential floors that you can spawn on, and the 5th is always the same. If I were to go over every single obstacle and show you how to do them, this video would take a lot longer than you're expecting it to be. Instead, I'm just going to show you how to get through what most people deem to be the tricky obstacles, as well as a general rule for the rest. In the description, I'll also be including a link to 2 unlisted videos of me doing the Sepulchre, 2 entire full runs if you want to see what 2 entire full unedited runs is like. I'll also be providing my tiles in the description, but please take these tiles with a grain of salt because these are the tiles that I've imported at the moment the Sepulchre came out, and I haven't changed them since. You might find more success with the plug-in tile packs and the Hallowed Sepulchre tiles that they have in there instead. The gist of my tiles is to stand on the lines and then run to the tiles and then run out. While we're talking about plugins, I think it's really important that you make sure that your agility plugin on RuneLite has your Hallowed Sepulchre settings to set to highlight. The objective of the Sepulchre is to get to the end of each floor without being hit by darts from the statues, flames from the statues, or these gigantic throwing swords from the other statues. These will all send you back to the start of the obstacle and make you waste time. The others will simply stun you or teleport you around, such as these blue and yellow tiles, where the yellow tiles will send you back a few tiles when lit up, and the blue tiles will send you forward when they're lit up, and there's also these lightning bolts which will just stun you in place if you stood on them. While running through the different floors of the Sepulchre, keep in mind that there are these little looting opportunities for you to use the materials that we were mentioning at the beginning of the video. There are these crossbow grapple shortcuts, construction shortcuts, magic enchantment shortcuts, and blessing shortcuts with vampiric ashes. If you're looking for money or hollowed marks, I would recommend you only do the last 2 floors that you have available for your agility level. For example, if you can only do up to level 4, then I would recommend only looting 3 and 4, as if you don't finish the floor in time, you can't move on, which will affect your experience. Alright, now let's actually get into how you do this thing. I'm going to show you a couple examples of obstacles here, as well as the difficult obstacles that trip people up. The thing that you'll probably run into the most are these fire hands, and the fire hands can be difficult, but once you learn this timing, you'll be all set. It's a little counterintuitive because you actually want to run just about a second before they actually stop shooting. All of the statues shoot out of their right hand, so if it looks like they're going to activate, just make sure you're not in the way of their right hand. Here's a few examples of that. When you're staring down a dart trap, I like to pan my camera down and face them so I can see which statue animates. If this is an obstacle that also combines the darts with the floor tiles, I for the most part will just ignore the floor tiles and prioritize the darts. Being teleported by one of the floor tiles will make you immune for a couple seconds, so you can use that to your advantage sometimes. When moving through the glowing floor tiles, keep in mind you'll be moving 2 tiles at a time. So when applicable, I try to line my 2 tile run up with a blue tile so that I'll be pushed forward instead of back. So here I pan the camera down to look forward at the animating statues, then run in straight lines until one of the statues in the line of sight activate, and that looks something like this. The gigantic sword attack is a very difficult one to deal with at the start, and for the most part you either want to follow it as it's being thrown or go as soon as it's gone all the way in. Doing that in a standard method looks just like this. There's also a situation where you may want to be using the glowing tiles on the floor to skip it like this. When it comes to lightning, the best way to navigate is just a tile skip, as your character runs 2 tiles at a time, so just don't be running in the way that would put you in line with it. So those are all the obstacles and how to deal with them. Now let's go over some of the obstacles that give people trouble, and I'll be doing these in order, so let's start with the end of floor 3. Floor 3 meets in the middle, and both paths will have to do this obstacle here, where you have 3 dart traps in a row of fire statues. I like to sit on this line here and just move in and out of the way of the darts, and once I've established myself, I like to quickly run through the first set of statues and look back to see if I'm still in the clear. Then I'll wait and run through the second set of statues. If you're having trouble getting this all in one go, you can do it in half bursts where you just go to the right hand of the statue that just fired. This sword obstacle here also gives people difficulty at times on floor 4. I simply wait until the sword passes this tile here that I have marked and then immediately run through. The other path of floor 4 is the one that I find gives people the most difficulty. It is this long line of fire guys here, and I've got a simple fix for it. When you reach this long row of statues, if all of the northern statues are firing, the next attack is going to be all of the statues attacking. After this attack, you're safe to run through to these tiles that I have marked here, and you can also run through when the first statue on the north side is not firing, like this. This is the last possible attack that you can run through without being reset. Shortly after this obstacle in the same path here is this sword, dart, and teleport obstacle here. I simply wait on this line and wait for the sword to either be retracted all the way or chase it down as soon as possible. If you chase it down, you'll have to use one of the teleports here to teleport through it, but if you run ahead of it, you just have to be very quick while avoiding the darts. Floor 5 is always the same and can be very, very precise. Luckily, it should end up always being the same timing. So once you've got it once, you're good. You run past these fire guys here, then past the sword, which you'll often have to use these blue teleports to either skip or get ahead of the sword. Then your standard darts and teleport obstacle, more fire with a long straightaway that you shouldn't be nervous about, another sword that you'll also likely want to skip ahead of, one more dart and teleport trap, and that will take us to our most difficult part of the sepulchre, which is our last obstacle here. This obstacle aims to throw basically everything that it can at you, but it's not incredibly difficult. I have every other tile line marked here. This correlates to the right side statue's fire lines, meaning that if the right side has just fired, I know that all of my blue tiles are now safe. If the left side has just fired, I know all my gray tiles are safe. All you'll be doing throughout this part is waiting for the corresponding attack, run about 3 to 4 tiles into the fire trap, and then run straight out. If you need to stand still and just move with the oncoming darts, that's okay to do, just make sure that you're moving up with the fire hand attacks. As you get past the lightning and the darts, you'll approach one more of these fire sections where you'll just do the same thing, adjusting to the darts where you need to, and once you've made it past here, you're home free. To regain some of your run energy, you can click on the obelisks here, and to leave at any point, just right click and quick leave on these obelisks here as well. You'll be teleported back to the lobby, and this is where you'll get your chance at the squirrel pet as well as your agility for everything that you have done. I didn't want to leave too much out of this guide, but I hope that it helped, and if it did not, then I would encourage you to go check in the description and watch a full run, and maybe something would be answered there that I didn't cover too well here. That being said, I want to thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.